Right, in this question it says to determine the nature of the solutions. So it means, what are the solutions like? You don't actually have to figure out the solutions. You just have to figure out what they would be like. Your choices, since this is a quadratic equation, and I can rewrite it as 2y squared plus 2y plus 2 is equal to 0. And I need to write it like that, like a quadratic, where this is A, this is B, and this is C. If I write it like that, I know it's a quadratic, so the graph either goes like this or upside down. But since this is positive, it's going to be this one. And then your nature of the solutions are these three. So I can have this graph and get rid of this. And it can look like this on a graph, or it can look like this, where it comes down and just touches and goes back, or it can look like this, where it doesn't cross the x-axis at all. So this one, since there's two places it crosses the x-axis, you'd say that has two real roots. This one, if it only touches the place once, then you say it has one real root. And this one, where it doesn't cross the x-axis at all, you would say no real roots. Or another thing you could say is it would have two complex roots. Okay, so for complex numbers, those are all the ones that have a negative number underneath the square root sign. So to determine which of those three it is, you need to take, and you could use this whole formula, the quadratic formula, but really to determine which of these three answers you have, all you have to do is figure out what's inside that square root sign. And if what's inside the square root sign is a positive number, then it's this one. So if it's positive, it's this one. If it's 0, if it turns out to be 0, it's one real root. And if it turns out to be a negative number, it's that one, this one down here. Okay, so really I can just use this thing here, and it's called the discriminant. So the discriminant is just that portion underneath the square root sign. Okay, so let's see what it is. So in our case here, b is 2. So 2 squared minus 4 times a is 2. Times c is another 2. Are they all 2's? Yeah. So I have 2 squared is 4 minus 4 times 2 is 8 times 2 is 16. So this would come out to a negative 12. So if it's a negative number, it's got to be that one right there. So there's no real roots, or in other words, there's two complex. What do they say? Oh, 2 real, that's this one. 1 real, that's this one. 2 non-real. Okay, instead of complex, they call it non-real. They're both the same thing. Okay, hopefully that helps you with finding the nature of solutions.